Okay, so once again, I want to welcome you to our last session of the Winter Institution. Once again, my name is Nisha Harris, and I am a mom and a sister mom of 7. And education is very important to me because my mother never went past the 8th grade, neither did my dad. Many of my elders never got the chance to graduate from school, and they really didn't get to see equity and quality when it came to education. So I feel it's my duty to advocate and speak for those who cannot speak themselves, and just make sure that our babies and that as parents we have the tools that we need to motivate them so they can be their best self. Myra.
Um, sí. am, pero algo otro comentario. ¿Tenía la mano arriba? O perdón. Perdón.
¿Me prestas
Hola.
uno? Ya está. Sí.
Hola, bienvenidos a todos. Como ya saben, mi nombre es Mayra Gudiño y les doy la bienvenida a todos.
Hey, Tanisha, I'm not sure if this is your slide or Maida.
And Myra, but I can go ahead. So this via Zoom norms and our agreement. So once again, please make sure you rename yourself. Please be on camera because we want to know who we're talking. We need to not just a name, but your face. And then when we're out, we'll recognize each other. Also, when you're coming in, please make sure you mute so that other speakers can speak. And also, don't hesitate to raise your hand. Raise your hand. Use the chat box as well. And we want to see reaction. If it's something that resonates with you, something you want to celebrate, please use those reactions at all times. Okay. And today we want to hear everybody's voice today. This is our last session, and let's make this our best session that we have. Next slide, please. And Myra, I want you to start off with the part of our FIA's mission, that first part, if you can, or would you like for me to do that?
Lo puedes hacer tú porque está en inglés, no tengo la traducción en español.
Okay, no worries. So first we're going to go over FIA's mission. Family in Action for Quality Education mission is to champion the values of quality, equity, and access in Oakland public education. Now, as we go through this, I want to actually pull someone to read that first pillar. So the first. Oh, you go ahead.
Okay, I'll read. It says building the personal leadership capacity of parents, youth, educators, and school leaders to be champions for quality schools by training and coaching and organizing and leadership.
Great. And then can I have someone to read the second one?
Fighting for the right of underserved students to gain access to high quality public education by ensuring that our voices, stories, and experiences are heard by education policy decision makers.
Okay, great. And I'm going to do the last one. leading a citywide movement or organization to align and channel their collective power through our issues and civil engagement champions. So in the chat box, and I want to see reactions. Tell me which one resonates with you. So for me, I think I'm really just stuck on fighting for the rights of underserved students, because I feel like that's something when it comes to Black and Brown that we continue to have to do. Until we get what we want, we're going to still have to fight for each other and unite together to make sure we get what we want when it comes to our children's education. Okay, I see a lot of hearts. Oh, yes. Okay. So we have a lot of people fighting for the right for underserved. Yes. Yes, I think that's been like the number one thing. Yeah, we're going to keep on fighting for the students. That's right. Okay. And the next slide, please.
Mari, ¿la ponemos en español primero?
Sí.
Let's get one more
Um,
slide, Michael. There it goes.
Este es, a ver, deje porque, ok. Vamos a hacer un pequeño examen, sorpresa para todos, pónganse listos. Piensen bien las respuestas y lo pueden poner, van a ver si es, pueden ir poniendo su respuesta. La junta de ACOE está encargada de renombrar o negar escuelas autorizadas por el condado. A, verdadero. B, falso. ¿Todos tienen su respuesta? ¿Pueden ponerla en el chat? Muy bien, muy bien. Estamos viendo respuestas. Bien. Nuestra segunda pregunta es, una declaración de urgencia tiene como objetivo A, explicar lo que está en juego. B, crear urgencias. C, explicar cómo participar. D, todo lo anterior. Se las repito. A, explicar lo que está en juego. B, crear urgencias. C, explicar cómo participar. Y D, todo lo anterior. Contesten. Muy bien, muy bien. Sí saben, chicos, sí saben. Tercera, para este instituto me comprometo a traer al menos cuántos adultos o cuántos jóvenes de high school al foro de candidatos del día 8 de febrero. A1, B5, C2. Contesten, chicos. Muy bien, vamos, vamos. Vamos. Hay diferencias, pero vamos. Sabemos que necesitamos invitar los que más podamos. Hay que tener fe, chicos. La ventaja que ahora es en Zoom, tenemos que tratar de invitar los más que podamos. Recuerden. Bueno, pues muy bien. ¿Cómo vieron las respuestas? Pues vamos con la primera pregunta. La respuesta correcta, ¿cuál es? Javier, ¿puedes decir? Todos los que sacaron, la A era correcta, la segunda era la D y la tercera, recuerden, dijimos 5, mínimo 5, pero si podemos invitar 10 o 15 o 20, bienvenidos. Gracias.
Next slide. Okay, where are we going with the Winter Living Institution? So with this session, we are focusing on the February ACOE form. Power respects power. And power respects power. Elected officials will listen to us. We derive our power from people. So we're going to talk about power, making power, and how we can use our power to elect the officials that we need to actually do the job. And tonight's purpose and outcome. And I want one of our youth to start off with the purpose for me, please. Okay, I'm gonna pick one of our youths. If you do not,
I'll go.
okay, thank you, Benjamin.
All right, so our purpose is to learn about the elements of a successful public action to develop and approve a plan for action, recommendation for action agenda, and clarifying questions. To be affirmed by the Institute membership and to develop school-based turnout strategies for February 8th, action using power mapping.
Thank you, Benjamin. Okay. And then can I have a parent that's gonna go over that, read the outcomes for me?
I could do it, Tanisha.
Thank you, Stefisha.
Yeah, for sure. So our outcomes, leaders are united, moving into action with the plan, turnout strategies, and clear about what needs to happen to successfully organize the virtual candidates forum on February 8th.
Thank you, thank you, thank you.
I don't know
No.
about everybody else, Tanisha, but I'm kind of fired up about the forum.
I am fired up about the form. I'm really excited. I've been speaking to parents and people within the community and telling them about what's in stake and why it's so important. And so I think it's just having that conversation and letting people know, because right now people aren't even thinking about voting. Or I received my booklet in the mail today. Did anybody else receive theirs? I received it for the election already. So I hope everybody's looking for theirs in the mail. They are rolling out today because I know me and my neighbors, we all received it.
I got mine too.
Okay, great. And anybody else? Okay, you guys just bear with me. A little thing is asking me on Zoom to select my language again, and I don't know why. So just give me one moment. I don't know why it's doing that.
If I can jump in there with you, Tanisha, just tell me when to shut up, okay? But I just want to say, you guys, as we do the research actions and stuff with all of our elected officials, make sure if you're a parent that you're signing up to be a part of those research actions, man. And like you're really getting in there, because you're going to meet the leaders of our community, but also be able to talk to them about what you really feel our kids need as parents. So, I'm just saying, look, go ahead, Tanisha. I just did the little memo go away for you?
Yes, it did. Yes, it did. Okay, and may I have the next slide, please? Okay, so I'm gonna go over the agenda. So right now we're gonna do defining the situation. Michael's gonna go over the training for defining the situation. And then we're going to into our small groups. And then we're gonna report back. And then we're gonna have our turnout goal for February 8th. And then we're gonna go into small groups and report back, and then go to the next steps and closing. And now I would like to welcome our wonderful political director, Michael McDaniel. He's going to go over session 4, moving family power in public.
All right. Welcome back, FIA fam, for session 4. Yeah. You excited? Come on, get pumped, get juiced. Come on, I need y'all energy. You gotta, hey, you guys already know by now.
Hey, I'm here with you, Michael.
Yeah,
What's
we
up?
need some energy in here. About if y'all have realized by now, I am a high energy dude. Okay, that's because that's what we need to energize and infect all of our people in our communities. So we get out there, we get in the streets, and we make it happen. Everything that we're gonna talk about tonight is about moving family power in the public. Probably asking yourself, well, how does this relate to what we're teeing up for the candidate forum? Well, that's how we move power in the public. You have to show a public display of your community coming together, organizing, solidifying your ideas and your mindset behind one goal, and then coming together to show that to the rest of the community. That's the definition of moving family power in the public. And we're going to talk about what that looks like, what's at stake in this upcoming race, and why family power needs to be at the center of it. And then later tonight, we're going to get into, well, how do we get the people in the room with us so that we can move together? Does that sound good to everybody? Let me see some thumbs ups. Let me see some emojis. There we go. Thank you, Daisy. Look, where everybody at? Okay, look, we ain't gonna do no passive watching tonight. We gonna be involved, okay? All right,
I'm with you, my man. I'm with you.
Love it. There we go. Thank you. All right. So like we've already kind of talked about, we have 4 Alameda County seats that are up. Now, I want everybody, if you can, put something in the chat and tell me if you see where you live somewhere in this map in this area. Now, we covering a county area going all the way from the heart of Oakland, touching to the tips of Emeryville. We're spreading out across Alameda, wrapping around 580, getting to the edge of San Leandro. And then we also have all of Castro Valley in the mix and Fremont Newark area. How many folks are actually going to be affected by this race? Let me see in the chat. Who's actually, I'm seeing folks like we not only have children that go to school, we work, live, and play in these areas. So if we think by any measure that the 4 seats that are going to be open do not affect us moving forward, we are all sorely mistaken. This is why it's so important that we have to not only bring just one person or 2 people with us to see what these people are talking about, what their platforms are, and what they intend to do for us. We have to bring 5. We want to bring 10. We need to bring as many people as we can into this conversation, because look how many of us are affected. Look at the wide areas that these trustees actually cover and are responsible for. Now, these are the people that are in charge of all of these different, I've heard more than a couple of parents tonight talk about how their children have special needs and need access to special services so that they can have an equitable, high quality education. These are the very people that are in charge of those programs, of administering those programs and making sure there are funds available for your children. There are so many families and youth that are impacted by the decisions that these people make are in this room tonight. So it would be a shame if we left this institute and did not take what we've learned and bring it back to the community to let them know that this isn't something we can just ignore and just let whatever is going to be, whatever it be. We can't just let whatever happens happen. Does anybody have any questions about the area that these trustees cover before we move on? Again, how is it that we show up and show out in the public and show, a show of force and move power? Well, it's when we show up in these spaces where we're not expected to be, where we're expected to not be tuned in and not, turning out and showing up and showing out, as they say. It's these spaces and places that we need to make sure we are in, that we're bringing these constituents, that we're bringing these candidates to their constituents. Because one thing we have to keep in mind at the end of the day, each one of them is elected to do one thing. That's serve the public. You are the public. Regardless of what school you're in, what type of school or institution you choose to send your child to, they're responsible to every single person that falls in these areas. And that's a great deal of every single person that's on this call tonight. And I like that, Abraria. We do need to surprise them and show them just how much we care. We got to show them that we tuned in, we're paying attention, and we're listening. But the thing is, we also have to keep in mind, now, while we're doing that, and we're talking about being tuned in and paying attention, we can't be crazy. The thing that leaves the impression on them at the end of the day and shifts the conversation and the narrative is when we're organized and we're disciplined. And that's why all of you guys are here tonight. That's why you've been in this institute, so you can learn those tools to organize not only yourself, but your community. Because there's so many people that are back at the schools that all of you guys come from and the communities that you guys come from that don't know anything about what's going on. You're going to hear, as you're talking to people about the candidate forum, like, well, what's it got to do with my kid? My kid goes to an OUSD school. And then you'll be able to tell them everything. It has everything to do with you. Just because that school is authorized by OUSD now doesn't mean that's going to continue to be the case in the future. And then a lot of us here have children that go to a lot of these ACOE authorized schools that are up for renewal this year. If we don't show up and make our presence felt during this election, we're missing an opportunity to make sure that our voices and choices are at the center of what they're trying to do as they move into the next term after they're elected, whoever that is. Any questions about like all of these schools that are up for renewals, the facilities, or even some of the closures that have happened? And again, these closures have happened to high quality schools over the years because people didn't take the time to make sure that those that were elected were listening to them. They didn't make it a priority, not only for themselves, but for all their peers. Like, it's a virtual candidate forum. Like, you got to keep putting that out there to people. Let them know, like, hey, man, I'm not asking you to come out of your house. You can stay at home in your pajamas. It's fine, but you need to tune in and know what's going on with these candidates.
I know, Michael, when I look at this, I just remember how my children's school, Lighthouse and Lodestar, lost millions of dollars because of not being able to get grant money for facilities. So I know this is really extremely important. People don't really understand how important it is to make sure that our babies aren't missing out on funds that they should have access to.
Right. Thank you for that, Tanisha.
Hey, Michael. Oh, excuse me.
Go for it, Danilo.
I would love to ask a question, Michael. How are we able to distinguish whether a school was ACOE approved or whether it went through the OUSD school board?
Administration will absolutely know that. Yeah, absolutely. They will absolutely know that. Yeah, administration will, because they have to prepare for either or every single, like every either 2 years, 4 years, depends on the term of the renewal or the lease. And so your school's admin will know, what type of school, if you're OUSD authorized or ACOE authorized.
So it sounds like it might be a good idea for, folks to maybe email principals just asking to see if there is, if their school is AOE or OUSD approved.
Absolutely. And that's why, like, part of what we always encourage families to do, and like after you guys leave this institute and you start to do your own, pushing for turnout to the candidate forum, speak to your school leaders. If you don't already have a relationship with them, establish a relationship. Understand what's going on at the school site. Look to become a partner with them instead of it being just I drop off my kid and now they're your problem. Now I pick them up, now they're my problem again. That's not how it works. It's not an exchange. This is a team that we need to cultivate and make sure that they're respecting us on equal terms as teammates. Do we have any other questions, guys? Keep them coming. Love it. All right. So now this is our cast. Oh, before we move on, Viviana, you have a question.
Sí, regresándonos a la otra diapositiva, ¿me podría explicar qué se refiere que necesitan need facilities access?
That's an excellent question. So what that means is, so a lot of our schools are cohabitating on sites. They cohabitate at sites, with OUSD schools, some charter schools. And what that basically means is they don't have a permanent home, a lot of them, or they are at a site right now that is in a state of disrepair. Like it's just not safe for the kids to continue to be there. So even if the school has like another year or two for them to be on a lease, it's not an adequate property and a safe space, for them to be in, or their lease is expiring at a place that they might be paying rent for, or they're renting a space from OUSD and they want to take it back. So they look for ways, and there's different propositions they can apply for that that'll force them to give them a reasonable accommodation, or at least look for a place for them. Like that's part of their duty as a school board, is to find those locations and try to work through those different institutions that need facilities access, or they're having facilities issues. Like there's a bunch of schools that they have classrooms, but they have no playground, and and they're teaching young kids, like they need to go outside and play. And that's a situation where they would go to the school board and like request a different facility that actually meets those needs, or at least a permanent home where they're not having to return to the board every 4 years and find out if they're going to still be able to have their school in the location it's at and completely shock their parents. All right. All right. Any other question? Another excellent question, Vivian. Thank you for that. Okay. Awesome, guys. So just to review and refresh, these are the 4 areas that are up for election this time around. We got Angela Norman in Area 2, Ken Barrick in Area 3, Jonavette Cole in Area 5, and Eileen McDonald in Area 6. Those are the 4 incumbents. Those are the ones that are reaching the end of their most recent 4-year term, and they are looking for re-election. Okay. And on the right side here, we have the challengers for each of our incumbents. We have John Lewis in Area 2. And as Stefisha was saying, we are seeking to have research action meetings with all of these candidates as possible. And We definitely want you guys to be there. As you guys know, that's part of the contract and one of the things you need to make sure that you do to complete the institute and receive your stipend. That being said, make sure that you guys put in the chat if you want to attend any of the upcoming research action meetings, because we're going to be meeting with all of these guys to find out exactly what it is that they're running on, what's their platform, get to know them some, start to build relationship. Because one of the ways that you also help to shift the narrative and build public power is by establishing deeper relationships with decision makers. Coming to them as a group, as an organized group of concerned parents with your issues, organized, using that discipline that you're learning here in the Institute to tell your story in a very concrete way that makes sense, that's compelling, and really cuts to what you need as a parent or a youth. These are like the prime, testing grounds where you actually get to do that work, to sit down in the room with these elected officials or candidates who seek to be your elected official and actually hear who they are and what they're about. Okay. And we'll actually get into a little bit later at the end of the meeting exactly what dates we're actually going to have those meetings. We have a research action meeting tomorrow evening with candidate Jonathan Cole, who is the trustee for Area 5. Okay, we're going to give the time for that later. If you guys are interested in that, please put in the chat so that we can make sure that organizers get you put on the invite so you guys can be in the room. So continuing on, Area 3 is Ken Barrick. That's the incumbent. He does not have a challenger this time around. And so he's actually already won the seat, but still has to go through the process like everybody else. And is going to be at our candidate forum because he wants to make sure that whether he has a challenger or not, that he's putting himself, forward to the community so that he can talk to you guys. He, wants to make sure that he's in the room with all of you guys to hear from our families, to talk to us and let us hear from him and what he plans to do moving forward. Now, Area 5 and our most upcoming research action is the most contested of all 4 of the races that are going to be run for ACOE. There's 3 candidates for that race. So it's going to be important that we can meet with as many of them as we can, or at least get them to our candidate forum so that we can hear from them and what their plans are and why they're the right candidate to be the trustee over Area 5. We've already seen just how much of Alameda County these trustees are responsible for. So we definitely know that we got to have somebody that's going to be at least reasonable and open to our conversation, if nothing else, if they're going to be sitting in that seat. And then lastly, Area 6, we have Eileen McDonald, who's been on the board for a long time, just like Ken Barrick has. And her challenger is John Leon Guerrero, who unfortunately we were not able to find much information on, which is the reason we do not have a photo for him. Right. Any questions about our candidates and our incumbents and our challengers for the upcoming ACOE race? Again, it's going to be important that we get out there and we make sure that all of our friends know about everything that we know, that we meet with these people to understand where they're coming from and then take that knowledge and bring it back to our communities. So much like we said before, our power principle that we want to keep in mind here is if you define the situation, then you can control the outcome. This is the whole reason why we're wanting these candidates to come to us, to come to you guys, to our parent and youth leaders, instead of having them to come, you always go to them. It's really easy for them to dictate what the conversation is going to be about and what the narrative is about if you're always having to go to them and meet them on their time and under their guidelines. That's why we have them coming to us to answer our questions that are coming from our families that deal with the root of what we deal with every single day. That they know the questions that are on the top of our minds and hearts that'll help us to change what we've already been experiencing. That's why we're all in this room together. So that's why we're going to define the situation with our candidate forum so that we can control as much as we can the narrative that moves forward and make sure that our families and our communities are as well informed as they possibly can be before they head to the ballot. So how do we want to flex this, this power that we're speaking of? How do we want to move in a very public capacity? And this is something I want to make sure that we're framing and proposing to you guys, because you have to understand, Families in Action is nothing without parent and youth leaders like all of you. You are the thing that keeps us running. You are the engine to the vehicle that is Families in Action. And so we always want to make sure that you are a part of the conversation and the decision making as we decide how we want to move out and show that power. And so to that end, we want to make sure that we hold a parent and youth-led virtual candidate forum for the ACOE to make sure that they know that we are paying attention, that we're tuned in, and that we want to make sure that whoever sits in that seat is going to be, responsible and respectful to all of us. So, what are the ingredients of an action? As you can see here, it's a leadership team, a group of discipline leaders like all of you. And you come together and you formulate a turnout strategy, a plan to invite large numbers of people. The visions and values are focused on quality, equity, and access. We ground our experiences in our testimony, which is our lived life experience, which you guys have all learned how to form over the first 2 sessions. Priority platform, clear about what we want to learn and ask, and the decision makers, confirmed targeted officials or candidates. These are the ingredients that make up an action. Again, the principle that is at heart here is that power respects power, and that action is in the reaction. We've already seen how this can kind of play out with the past candidate forum that we just had, and how many people turned out, and how that was so effective to show both of the candidates in the long run just how much the community was a part of this. And you could see that respect in how things played out at the end of the day. And that was the reaction publicly. Again, the action is in the reaction. And so this is a timeline that you want to try to kind of look at when you put these things together. You want to have that action authorization meeting, which is actually tonight. Like I said, you guys are a part of this decision-making process. And you want to hold that about 3 to 4 weeks before the action, okay? It's seeking an attendance, 20% of the action turnout goal is what we're looking for at the end of the day. That's why we always come out, 3 to 4 weeks prior, so that we have time to build up and ramp up our own turnout strategy. We want to form our action teams, who's going to do what exactly, and assign members so that we can be, again, organized, disciplined. We go through our logistics once we do that. Preparation and action planning meeting. As you guys already know, some of you are part of our lead team. That is exactly what that is for. It's to prep for those roles, to finalize our script and any clarifying questions, and do our dress rehearsal. Something that a lot of you will be invited to over the next couple of weeks as we get closer to February the 8th. And then we'll have our action. And as always, we want to debrief. We have to learn from all the things that we've done so that we can continue to grow and get better. So we always do a short evaluation immediately after so that we can recognize what we did good, what we did bad, and what we can always do better. These are the pieces that make up the action. this is how we came to the arrival that we want to move on to a very public show of action in this in the upcoming election. We need to make sure that our ACOE candidates, you know, and our elected officials know that we are here. And this is our proposed action agenda for the forum. I won't go into this. I just want to give you guys a quick preview of what the night's going to look like. Okay, any questions about our proposed action agenda? And it's proposed because here in a bit, we're going to ask you all to vote. Keep that in mind. Okay, now before we move into our breakout groups, we're gonna actually make a motion. Again, like I said, you guys are the deciders at the end of the day, and you're gonna answer the rest of this question in our breakout groups. But the motion is to approve our action agenda and timeline for our parent and youth-led virtual ACOE School Board Candidate Forum on February 8th, 2024. So as we motion to that, if they'll need to be approved, and all of you guys will still have to agree that this is the right way for us to move forward and show our public family power. All right, and with that, we are going to get into our breakout groups so we can go ahead and get to that motion. All right, and let's hear from some of our groups. I know we had always a great conversation. And just real quick from my group, Miss Jackie, you can do our report back, please.
Sure. Our group voted yes, and we all agree to assist Fia with the candidate forum.
Right on, Miss Jackie. Right. We'll give a big whoop whoop at the end for all of our awesome groups. Let's go ahead and hear from. I saw you in the chat there, Vivica. Why don't you guys go next?
I got a power hitter coming through to give our report back. Miss Jamisha come on stage, and she didn't just she's not just gonna give a report. She's gonna give some ideas that she think can freshen up some data for us for this forum. So go hit them with it, Jamisha. Make sure you tell them about our vote.
Well, I want to start off and say that we all voted and we are all in agreement to the way everything is set up. I actually thought everything was set up pretty well. It was like really organized and everything looked really well. And I was voicing my concern because I know I did miss session 2 and it kind of bothered me because I had class that day, but then, you know, I wanted to know where I could fill in and like be best utilized because I don't really have position solidified because everything was kind of done around me. So I was told that I can be part of the research and that she would have Danilo reach out to me. And I also was thinking while we were there, you know, a lot of parents don't have the time to do those things. So I was thinking, why don't we create a survey across sites to where we can actually provide the data like that everybody can have common goals, like what do we think our students best need, what would best suit them, what would fit them, and present that data and those numbers at the forum also to just let them know that parents are in unity, whether we're there present, but also in the data, and it shows itself basically. Sorry, I'm probably rewording a lot of things wrong, but excuse me.
No, thank you for that, Jamisha. And excellent ideas. You know, Vivica, I hope you were writing those down. Okay, well, we're good. We're good to go. Awesome. Thank you, Jamisha. Thank you for sharing that. And I think that's a great idea. You know, we were talking about a more federated team moving forward on the other side of this. So you already beat us to it. And which would be like a group of leaders like yourself that would be able to come together, voice the opinions and the needs like from your communities and make sure that that's something that we are you know, that's a present and things that we are advocating for. So Awesome, awesome. Let's hear from one of our youth groups. Javi, help me out.
I believe Jesus can help us out.
All right, so in our group, we had a lot of great questions and we elaborated more on the whole event. But instead of me just saying the vote, I want to give my youth fellows a chance to say what they voted on. So on a count of 3, can we all just come off mute and just say what you voted for? 1, 2, 3.
Yay!
Not ever mention I love the feed you. You guys are the best. Like for real. Awesome. I love it. I love it. Like that should be the way we report back from now on. Let's hear from one of our other groups. Who else was here? Danilo. Who else had a group?
Call on Katia.
That'll work.
Katia, ¿quieres compartir?
Sí, Javi. Bueno, pues nosotros hablamos un poco de lo que ya dijeron ustedes y dentro de la acción estuvimos hablando de la importancia de estar presentes en las reuniones de investigación, Javi. Tratamos de ponernos como objetivo el estar presentes porque es un paso para nosotros poder conocer a los candidatos dentro de la acción. Entonces, pues creo que fue eso lo más importante, Javi, tratar de organizarnos y poder estar presente todos para que ellos escuchen nuestra voz. Y como yo les decía, al ver su rostro también podemos conocer a cada candidato y nosotros tal vez no podemos votar, pero podemos decir como para nosotros quién sería la mejor opción. Eso es en breve, Javi.
Gracias, Katia. Gracias.
We also have Carmen's group. Carmen, would you like to share?
Hola Gaby, bueno, en el grupo todos estaba Daisy, es una mamá que iba a compartir para nosotros,
Sí.
pero
Soy Carmen. Bueno, hola. Soy Daisy Campos, soy una mamá de la CHR Academy y estuvimos revisando la agenda y todos estamos totalmente de acuerdo con los puntos que se van a tratar ese día. Y como dijo Katia, estar presentes en conocer a los candidatos que han estado de acuerdo de dejarse entrevistar por nosotras las familias a través de FIA, porque así más o menos nosotros tenemos una idea de quién elegir, como por ejemplo en mi caso, cuando yo no tenía a mi niña en la escuela, ella va al 5º, yo recibía la boleta para votación y como no tenía ni idea sobre la educación y todo eso, yo votaba, como decimos nosotros, al Team Marín. Y a veces es importante pasar la voz sobre estos foros porque hay personas que tal vez no tienen hijos en las escuelas, pero pueden votar y esa es la forma de cómo ellos nos pueden apoyar. Y es todo, gracias.
Awesome. Thank you, Daisy. And last but not least, I think Danilo's group, you want to call on one of your folks or?
Absolutely. Mayra, ¿quiere introducir a la persona que nos va a dar el resumen?
A ver, nuestra chica valiente.
Hola, mi nombre es Lidia Echeverría, soy de la escuela ACE. Nuestro grupo habló sobre que también estamos de acuerdo sobre la agenda, ya que será muy fácil y accesible por Zoom. No tenemos que salir de casa para conocer los candidatos y las mejores propuestas. Y también podemos invitar a más personas para que también lleguen muchos más y podemos lograr lo que queremos. Y también sobre el planeamiento de las preguntas claras y claves y directas, perdón, para que nos entiendan y tengamos las respuestas que necesitamos. Gracias.
Hey, Michael or Javi, can I just say something real quick? Lydia was actually a little nervous, y'all, but she killed it right now. I just want to go ahead and give her, because we have to go ahead and pull a little bit on that, but you know, she did a dope job. So shout out to you, Lydia. Good job, girl.
Thank you.
Shout out, Lydia. Shout out everybody. I think Michael, you said you wanted to give everybody woo woo, right?
We definitely deserve one because we all come together. I heard nothing but yays across the board.
You.
Let's
Woo,
go.
Yes, sir.
Hey, you got some, like I always love to say, man, we don't celebrate the small wins and the little things in life, then we missing out. And, and this was an epic moment. You guys are going to be a part of history, a part of moving power in 2024. And Lydia, I couldn't tell you were nervous. Knocked it out the park. All right, guys. Excellent. Well, let's keep it moving. Like, I want to value y'all time, and Mike's not going to waste your time. All right. So here I'm going to bring up our next two leaders to the mic, Marlon and Jackie. Let's give it up for them as they come up and next part of our session, guys. Woo, woo,
Hola, buenas noches. Un placer estar acá. Mi nombre es Marlene Lemus, soy madre de una niña. Soy guatemalteca. En mi país me gradué de perito contador. Hice el cierre de la universidad. Migré a este país y Dios me bendició ser madre de familia. Me he involucrado a esta organización de FIA para saber el sistema de educación que todo padre debemos saber y cuáles son los derechos como padres y derechos de los niños, especialmente el nivel de las escuelas y el puntaje. Creo que estamos a tiempo a hacer un mejor cambio, ya que tenemos la fuerza y el apoyo de FIA. Así insto a todos los padres y jóvenes que estamos acá para que sigan apoyando a la organización de FIA. Gracias.
And my name is Jackie Brooks, and I've been with FIA since 2022. I am a grandparent of a child at Cox Academy and recently participated in our school's facilities campaign in order to receive $28 million for our school. In doing so, many Cox parents joined research action meetings and OUSD school board meetings. I am with FIA because I love the support that we as parents receive and how we are able to advocate for our children. Next slide. One question that I have for you all is, how have you done turnout before? Have you ever asked yourself that question? Let's have two people answer. Can someone come off mute and answer?
Anybody want to come off mute, help us out? Now we're gonna call on some folks, Miss Jackie. I'm gonna help you out. Let's see, Miriam. I'm gonna call on you. In the past, have you ever thought about turnout?
Well, I haven't really thought about it. I just kind of like, I'm kind of like a go with the flow person to see like, oh, what will happen. And I think that's the excitement, like the turnout, like what will happen. But if I'm being honest, I've never really thought about it.
Yeah. And that's fair, right? Something very new. What Ms. Brooks, let's call on one more person. How about, let's see, I'm gonna help you out again. I'm gonna help you out. Let's see. No, Santiago. You for sure thought about turnout. Marisol, can I call on you? And if not, Fozia, I'll call on you right now. Let me see.
Buenas noches. Es que vengo manejando. ¿Está bien?
Okay. No, it's okay. If you're driving, no worries. We can call on Fozia. How about you, Fozia? How have you done turnout in the past?
Gracias.
I actually have not done a turnout, but I do really want to go to one. So that's why I'm like excited to see if I'm able to come. I really hope that I do go to one because it just seems like a cool and fun thing to do.
So also not so much experience with doing turnout, right? Getting people in. But you're definitely gonna be there, right? You're definitely gonna be at the virtual thing and get turnout with you. Ms. Jackie, I'm gonna pass it back to you.
Sure. When we think about turnout, we want to think about this organizing principle. Let's go to the next slide. The organizing principle that we want to highlight here is our power is the product of our relationships. This power principle is important because FIA is all about relational power. That's where our power comes from. So we got to use it to our advantage. We want to invite our friends, families, community, school community, and community as a whole. Now, we're going to go deeper into how the FIA does turnout. Let's go to the next slide.
Marlene, ¿está lista?
Ya, la siguiente, pues todo está en inglés. La siguiente vamos a hablar de las 3 R's, de la relación, registrar y ¿cuál dice el otro, Danilo?
Recordar.
O recordar. Lo que es la relación, nos estamos basando es cuando nosotros podemos hablar con un padre de familia o con un vecino y comentarle que es FIA y por qué nos involucramos. Y ahí empezamos a hacer una conexión. Registrar, sabemos que tenemos la aplicación esa de la QR, pero a veces muchos teléfonos no lo pueden hacer, también pues yo creo que pueden acudir con pedir la información y pasar la información también al que nos dirige en el grupo. El siguiente es recordar. Recordar es que usted tiene una página y puede ser en su folder puede ver la página que está y crear un mapa en las relaciones que puede dividir con padres de su escuela o de su comunidad. Next.
Marlene, ¿le puedo hacer can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
When it comes down to reminding, do we remind just once? Do we remind one time? How many times do you think we should be reminding? Once or more than once?
Yo creo que debemos de recordarles más veces a la persona, precisamente cuando ya tal vez una hora antes de lo que vaya a empezar la junta o dependiendo de la relación que vamos a tener en la junta de lo que se va a hablar, pero sí es recomendable hacerlo más de 2 o 3 veces.
Perfect. Can we go to the next slide? ¿Tú era más fácil?
Todo está en inglés.
Si se lo ponemos en español, Marlene?
Ya, por favor.
Is there any way we can switch it over quickly to the Spanish version, Michael? Is that okay?
Michael, if you want to stop sharing, I can jump your Spanish one.
Perfect. Thank you, Javi. Oh man, everybody's here.
Ok, a continuación vamos a hablar de las 3 R's. Relación número 1, el mensaje y el mensajero. Empiece por sus relaciones personales, a quienes conoces, a qué le importa tanto como a ti. Esto podemos dar un ejemplo de que a todos los que estamos acá es muy importante que los demás padres sepan o jóvenes de lo que estamos dando el mensaje o el mensajero. También invita a personas, a 4 o 5 personas que participen en cartografiar. Creo que muchos, yo no sabía qué significaba esa palabra, pero ese es como un mapa, sus relaciones personales, individuos, ver la hoja de trabajo. Ustedes tienen un folder y ahí pueden ver la hoja de trabajo también. Esto quiere decir que nosotros tenemos que invitar a padres de familia o jóvenes que va a llevar 5 o más personas, ¿verdad? Al foro. Entonces invita a tus grupos escolares. Cartografiar las relaciones de grupo basados en la escuela y ver la hoja de trabajo en su folder. ¿Quién es el mensajero más poderoso para este grupo? ¿Cómo los prepara para entregar las preguntas más fuertes? Cuando hablamos del mensajero poderoso, es que si uno está dando el mensaje, uno es el mensajero poderoso. Pero si vamos a una escuela y tienen cafecito y llega el señor director, el director es el mensajero poderoso. Tenga un tono claro. Practique la credencial personal de FIA. Prepare una declaración de urgencia de 30 a 60 segundos. Ahí en la carpeta ya está. La pueden revisar y ahí está. Puede consultar en la hoja de su trabajo. Siguiente.
Awesome. And I'm going to go back to English. There it goes. 1 second. Boom.
And the second R is register. In order to do this, we have to make a plan and do the outreach. First, we want to set a clear goal for your school. We do this by creating a turnout goal and by creating a collective school turnout goal. Second, make the ask. We want to make a one-to-one invitation and ask any school groups that may be on your campus. Also, see if there's an opportunity to speak at a meeting or an assembly at your school. Lastly, we need to register our people. Make sure to use the QR code to get people signed up. Once people are signed up, they will receive a few reminders that will go out multiple times leading up to the event. Reminders are super important. And now we can talk more about that. Next slide, please. The last R is remind. We want to do multiple touches with our people who signed up. The first thing we do here is use the QR code to our advantage. This will provide us with a record of who has signed up. This also allows FIA to send out information and send out the link. Second, we need to verbally remind our people who we invited and registered. We can do this by sending text messages, emails, and using social media. Lastly, we need to schedule regular check-ins. We want to celebrate registrations and monitor progress. We also want to support each other and share what is working for turnout. Are there any questions about the 3 R's?
Any question, folks? Any questions about the 3 R's? Oh, awesome. We can go to the next slide, which is, oh, 1 second. Oh no, Michael, I might need your help actually. My deck went away. Oh, here it is.
You're talking about my tabs. That's what happened.
Boom.
Participación en la acción, reglas generales y consejos. ¿Puedes decir cómo precisió tu participación? Sea audaz y realista. Invita el doble de personas que tu objetivo. Esto quiere decir que si tenemos la meta de llevar a 5 personas, que sea el doble y llevar 10. Tener un plan y realizar análisis de la red.
Can't hear the interpretation.
Cree hitos y programe controles de progresos periódicos. Hacer múltiples toques a los registros.
¿Está lista para la otra, Marlene?
Sí, por favor, siguiente. Grupos de trabajo. ¿Ya me vas a mandar el grupo o tengo que decirle que vamos a hacer 20 minutos?
I think there might be a slide missing on the Spanish version, Javi.
Oh, here. Quick, Danilo, are you?
I can't hear you, my man. Say it again.
Are you leading these next slides? I can switch over to
No,
the
Marlene is doing this one, and I'm doing the breakout groups.
All right, got you.
Ya está, Marlene, ahí, dele.
Ok. En esta hoja de trabajo es nuestro trabajo que tenemos que realizar. Otros padres de la escuela, por ejemplo, voy a poner un ejemplo mío. Por ejemplo, yo tengo una amiga vecina y ella va a ir al foro. Yo pondría en el número 1, en la primer casilla, el nombre de señora Sara Martínez. Entonces la señora Sara Martínez me dice, mi comadre también quiere ir, le comenté. Entonces usted va a asignar a la comadre de la señora en el número 1 en la casilla de abajo. ¿Sí me doy a entender? Y a la par al lado derecho dice los líderes escolares o maestros o personas que trabajan ahí. También podemos invitar. Si el maestro va, lo ponemos en el número 1. Si ese maestro invitó a otro compañero o otro maestro, lo vamos a poner en la casilla de abajo en el número 1. Ese ejercicio lo tenemos que hacer y esa hoja está en el folder. ¿Alguna pregunta? Si no aclaré. Si todo está bien, seguimos a la siguiente, por favor.
All right. Cool, cool. Thank you, Javi. All right, folks. So we are getting ready to go ahead and jump into our second breakout group of the night. We do have about 4 steps that we want everybody to go ahead and make sure that they attack while they're in the breakout groups. Obviously, we're going to go ahead and do a welcome quick introductions, but we want to go ahead and review that relational power sheet that is in our binders. You'll be able to find that. We also want you to be able to review the school turnout strategy worksheet as well that you can find in your binder. And obviously, we want some concrete numbers when we get back. So I want to hear some numbers. So if Javi and his group is telling me we got about 40 people, that's what I want to hear. So let's go ahead and get into those groups and see you guys back in about 20 minutes.
Yeah, all right, welcome back. Welcome back. Let's all make sure we get on our interpretation channels now that we're coming out our breakout rooms.
Interpretation. There goes.
I don't know about y'all, but it was just when it was starting to get good.
I just said that, Mike. I put too soon, too soon.
You want to jump back on it, Michael?
Yeah. I got it. And I have less tabs.
Look at God.
Ain't he good?
Man.
Won't he do it? Won't he do it? Okay, so I guess I follow the instructions that were given to me. Organizers, where y'all at? What's going on? We were supposed to put the totals.
Oh, you want us to put it live? I got you. Give me 3 seconds.
Oh, please. Oh, please.
Right there.
Okay, so in our groups, small groups, like we all discussed, we went over, who in our relational networks can we call on? Who do we want to call on for turnout? We started thinking through strategy, and we should have come up with some doable numbers that we feel like we're actually going to be able to achieve from our. So let's look at what our total projected turnout is going to be.
Bringing up the calculator, man.
Right. Hey, y'all gonna make me do math, and
Hey, Javier, Michael, I don't know if we need to ask
Just
Katia
text
or the other
Alicia off
Spanish
of me.
group.
She'll tell you what it is in 5 seconds.
Yeah, definitely. I think we need one more group, right?
Yeah, if you could just tell me the number, I can go ahead and pop it in.
Katia, ¿tienes su número?
Sí, en nuestro grupo estábamos 5 y nuestro propósito es 10 cada quien, seríamos 50.
Awesome. So we got 489. I'll put it in there.
Just round that thing up, 500.
Let's shoot for 500. There we go. Right. Let's shoot for 500. Let's go ahead and let's shoot for like one of my favorite sayings is, you know what? You got to shoot for the stars if you want to hit the moon. Okay. So let's shoot for 500. Let's get there. Okay. Ben suddenly coming on camera out of nowhere. Awesome, guys. Yeah, no, let's do it. Look, we have this many people that show up on that Zoom, on that virtual call, to be there, to be present, to hear from these candidates. You cannot tell me that they will not think that, oh, I make sure I pay attention to these families and what they're talking about. That's going to leave the deepest impression on every last one of them, and let them know that off top, you got to respect the families all across all of Alameda County, because they ain't playing. We're going to show up and we're going to make sure we hold you accountable every single time. Excellent. Let's make it happen, guys. Let's get them in the house. Let's make sure that's who we got and how many we got. So let's move out from this meeting tonight and make those numbers a reality. All right. So just to review, leadership activities, requirements for completion, and the $250 stipend. Must do. Can't emphasize this part enough.
Quick thing, Michael, my bad. I'm going to cut you off, brother, but I think Miriam's going to help us with this part.
That's even better.
Yeah, hi everyone. My name is Miriam. And so these are just some leadership activities. So the requirements in order for the completion and to receive the $250 stipend. So one of the obvious things is to attend all 4 sessions of the Leadership Institute and conduct 6 one-to-one conversations with other youth parents, friends, and neighbors, schools, and or district leaders to share what you have learned and build your network of relationships. And obviously, second of all, is to attend the FIA's ACOE Virtual Candidate Forum and invite 5 friends, family, or community members on February 8th, 2024. And on top of these requirements, there are 3 more, or at least 3 more, is record a FIA testimonial using FIA's new credential and send it to FIA's team. Submit FIA's testimonial and post weekly 4 times on social media, and give a personal testimony at an OUSD ACOE social board meeting in January through March, and participate in at least one of FIA's research action meetings, and then convene with your YLT and or PLT to plan candidate forum turnout strategy. Next slide, please. And now we will be hearing a testimony from Marlene Garcia. So let's play the video.
Razones personales tuve que emigrar. Hijos son Ángel Munguía.
No se escucha.
Una madre comprometida y preocupada.
Wait, huh? Maybe try to try refreshing it once and then.
Todo. Nací en Guadalajara, Jalisco, México. Mis padres solo cursaron hasta el 6º grado de educación primaria. Fui afortunada, siempre me apoyaron en mis estudios. Me gradué de la universidad, soy licenciada en educación especial en el área de adopción y lenguaje. Por razones personales tuve que emigrar a este país donde resido desde hace ya 23 años. Mis hijos son Ángel Munguía, de 9 años, que cursa actualmente el 4º grado, y Oliver, de 7 años, que va al 1er grado aquí en la escuela Aprendiendo Sin Límites. Soy una madre comprometida y preocupada porque mis hijos reciban una educación de calidad, que se motiven, que no solo sean
Can't hear you, brother. Can't hear you.
de la universidad. Una organización basada en muchos padres y jóvenes libres. Bueno.
So yeah, this is a great example of like what.
No se escucha nada.
Oh.
Keep going, Miriam.
Oh, this is an example of like what we need to create as our FIA testimony. As you can see, like Marlene's was very strong and she really talked about like her experiences and her goals for her children. And like just to appreciate Marlene's hard work, I want to give her a FIA woo woo in 3, 2, 1. So unmute everyone. Woo 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 woo. And now, please. So these are some of the next steps. So like some homework for everyone here. So for example, so make sure to get your people RSVP'd, make sure that they register. to the ACOE Virtual Candidate Forum on February 8th, and there's going to be a dress rehearsal January 23rd. Also make sure to attend any of these research action meetings listed below. So we have Genevieve Cole tomorrow, actually, John Lewis, the 22nd, Eileen McDonald, January 25th, and then Dan Cope, January 26th. So please communicate if you really want to attend these meetings. Next is also to make sure to attend either ACOE or OUSC board meeting. The ACOE one is January 23rd and OUSD is January 24th. And also make sure to fill out the evaluation link here. I don't know if someone can put it in the chat, please. And also in the chat, make sure to share how are you feeling as we wrap up session 2? What is a glow for this session and what is a grow for this session?